Hey guys, how you doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. So another article I wanted to bring to your guys' attention. This time it is from The Guardian and it is from Saturday the 28th, so yesterday. So here we go. Checkpoints, fines and online shaming. Police struggle to enforce tough new rules. Notice how they call them rules, because these are rules, these are not laws. These are just rules that they've come out with, guidelines, things that they're saying we have to do. Senior officers are seeking even wider powers, including fining parents if their teenage children breach the lockdown. It's going a bit far, isn't it? I mean, are they adults? Are they not teenagers? I mean, they're culpable for their own actions. I mean, it's just ridiculous to think you can then go and fine the parents. The parents of, well, it says here, the parents of young adults who break the virus lockdown rules should be sanctioned, a police officer has said, amid confusion over enforcement of new powers to prevent the spread of the virus. Ken Marsh, the head of the Metropolitan Police Federation, said that the parents of older teenagers should be forced to pay fines if they're ignoring government guidance. I mean, there's such massive overreach and just trampling over our actual rights, liberties and freedoms here, guys. I mean, this is literally the stuff of Orwellian nightmares. On Thursday, emergency legislation granted police new powers to allow the officers to issue £60 on-the-spot fines or even make arrests for breaches of the UK's coronavirus lockdown rules. Marsh, whose federation represents 30,000 officers in the capital, said the new rules did not provide adequate enforcement measures where more than 2 teenagers had gathered and refused to follow police instructions to go home. We've got to take them home, but when we take them home, we can't find their parents, otherwise what's the deterrent? The call for tougher measures comes amid continued debate over how far the police should enforce sweeping new rules, after the public were told last week to leave their homes only for essential shopping and exercise. On Friday, Derbyshire police were criticised after releasing drone footage of walkers at a beauty spot alongside the warning, such exercise does not constitute essential travel. I don't know about you guys, but it is just ridiculous. It clearly is going too far. And the police are wanting new powers to exercise these new rules. I mean, if these were laws, then fair enough, but to get them as laws, they'll have to go through a judicial process, which they wouldn't get through because they're not basically they're not enforceable fair laws, and they shouldn't be allowed. So that's why they call them rules, and the police are looking for more ways to enforce them, because we're basically in a police state. Former Justice Secretary David Gork described Derbyshire's police shaming of ramblers as badly misjudged. The Irish government this weekend announced new rules, new restrictions, including a rule that all exercise must take place within 2 kilometres of people's homes. Cumbrian police have warned that the Lake District is closed and checkpoints have been put in place at beaches and other locations to try and stop people travelling to walk their dogs or exercise. I mean, if you're travelling in your car to then go and walk your dog or exercise in a space where there's not people, I mean, what is wrong with that? The majority of the public appear to be following social distancing guidelines, although police chiefs have confirmed that within 24 hours of the new powers coming into operation, they had started to issue fines. Of course they have. No overall numbers have been released. Of course they haven't. Officers policing London believe that the weekend will provide a better indication of whether the public will abide by the lockdown measures. Marsh said, "This weekend will be the acid test, particularly if the weather is nice. The public need to come with us on this one because we police by consent." In a European country, it isn't very easy because they can point a gun in their face. We can't do that. We've just got to cajole and educate. Oh, I'm sorry. It's such tough on the police. I mean, how much easier would their job be if they could point a gun in your face? He said the enforcing of the measures could be very challenging, particularly if officers have to arrest a person who refused to comply with coronavirus measures while following the government's guidance to stay 2 meters away from the people. It's going to be very challenging if they turn around and say bugger off, because firstly, we're meant to be within 2 meters of them. Sorry, I've just got to go back to this. So what they want is to be able to, it would be so much easier if they can point a gun in your face, basically threaten to kill you. That's what this is. I mean, the only reason you're going to do something someone says if they're pointing a gun in your face is in case they pull that trigger and you die. So this is just obscene. And the police even think that, then Anyway, every force in England and Wales has drawn up contingency measures for coping with the absentees, as large numbers of officers report sick or self-isolate. March said that the Met had 3,600 officers off sick, 12% of his total workforce, although officers were returning to the front line when they recovered. He warned that the capital could be very difficult to police in 3 to 4 days if there is a sharp downturn in officer availability owing to the virus pandemic. It also could be hard if people basically start to get fed up and just go out anyway, because more people is also going to be an issue, along with obviously less police. The UK's relatively hands-off approach to policing of the virus crisis differs markedly with some other countries like South Africa. South African police, for example, yesterday fired rubber bullets on hundreds of shoppers queuing outside a supermarket in Johannesburg. I mean, so the police want guns to point in your face. They probably want rubber bullets so they can actually pull the trigger on those guns in case you think they're not going to kill you over this, just for shopping outside a supermarket where you are going for food because you have to eat food to live. I mean, this is ridiculous, guys. I mean, if you don't think this is gonna, this has to de-escalate soon. Otherwise things are going to erupt. And I've got another article I'm going to have a little talk about in another video about riots actually erupting in China, just because of the draconian measures that are still going on there, and it's just gone on for too long and people can't cope. But anyway, this is not financial advice, guys. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I'll speak to you guys soon.